Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard crossover dress deck profile for post-Dragon Masquerade. Set 10 gave us a couple new cards for the crossover dress deck, a deck that focuses now on being able to utilize overdress along with the crossover dress cards, with our main go-to Vanguard, Nirvana Jiva, and the new Mirror's Virina, along with the new Prayer Dragon that we received to help with the search power for the Virina units. And Mirror's Virina is just something we really needed for the deck, a counter charger, and then even if you don't need to counter charge, which is very unlikely in Nirvana Jiva with how much you counterblast, an option to draw as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with the ride deck as usual. For our starter, we're running the Surprise Egg when wrote upon. If you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Heart Pounding Blaze Maiden Reno. When wrote upon by Snuggling Blaze Maiden Rayu, search your deck for up to 1 Trickstar, call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. So you can even call it as a booster behind your Vanguard, since when you cross over dress, it doesn't have to be right on top of the card. You bring the Prayer Dragon and the Trickstar together for the crossover dress. And our grade 2 is Snuggling Blaze Maiden Rayu. When this unit is wrote upon by Chakrabarthi Phoenix Dragon Nirvana Jiva, you look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 Prayer Dragon from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So just a searcher for one of the other cards needed for crossover dress, with our main go-to grade 3 being our Chakrabarthi Phoenix Dragon Nirvana Jiva, along with the copy we are running in the ride deck. We're running 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. On the Vanguard Circle, once per turn, you can discard a card from your hand, choose up to 1 Trickstar and 1 Prayer Dragon from your drop zone, call them to rear guard. And on Vanguard, when this unit attacks, you can counterblast 1, choose one of your rear guards in the crossover dress state, and stand it, giving you the 4th attack power alone that you can provide with your crossover dress unit on the rear guard for that added pressure with your Vanguard attack, and even more so when you use a Persona ride to give the front row plus 10,000 power. For the other grade 3s that I run the deck, I'm still running the 2 copies of Flaring Cannon Bar Virina and the 2 copies of Brown Virina, just to give us more Virina searches potentially as well, with cards like the new grade 1 that we're running in the deck, the Illuminate Equipped Dragon. For our search power and setup, depending on which one we may need, we have the rear guard retire pressure for just a Soul Blast with Bram Virina, and then the drive check power with Boar Virina, which uses more of the counterblast options along with Nirvana Jiva that can easily be brought back with our Mirror's Virina as well. For the grade 2s, ideally I do want to run 4 copies of Mirror's Virina. I have copies of Vil's Virina and Garou Virina just as placeholders, but you would take these cards out and then replace them with more copies of the new grade 2 Mirror Reflection Equipped Mirror's Virina. When this card is placed on rear guard by crossover dress, choose up to 2 cards with Virina and their card name from your drop, put them as this unit's original dress, and on rear guard, when this unit is in the crossover dress state and attacks, this unit gets plus 10,000 to end of battle. Then put an original dress of this unit with Virina and its name into the drop and perform a draw card or a counter charge. So this is also not a once per turn, so if you attack with your Mirror's Virina and then use your Nirvana Jiva, you can restand the Mirror's Virina again, and as long as you have the option to put an original dress underneath Virina into the drop zone, you can perform the counter charge again, giving you the multiple attack power, a plus 10 for this unit as well, so at least you have some pressure to go up against your opponent with this card, and just having the option to place 2 cards with Virina from your drop zone as the original dress makes it so this card won't leave the crossover dress state as well with any of the original dress that you place into the drop zone. And I also run the 3 copies of Virina Arcs, just more draw power in the deck. It also takes away one of your counterblasts, which you can easily make up with your Mirror's Virina, and being searchable with our new Grail Lumiere, since this card just searches for 2 cards with Virina. Its card name, it doesn't search for anything particular, whether it has crossover dress or overdress, just having Virina in its name. So another easy way to search out one of the best draw power cards we have in the deck and to fully utilize it. And moving on now to the grade 1s. I'm mixing back and forth between the numbers for Grail Lumiere and also the Brahmana, but right now I'm running 2 and 2. I may run 4 of the Grail Lumiere just so we have the use of a Soul Blast instead of a Counter Blast for searching cards and adding them to our hand and setting up the other ones in the drop zone with Illuminate Equipped Dragon you have this card when it becomes an original dress. Soul Blast 1, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 cards with Virina and their card name from among them, reveal them, choose up to 1, and put it into your hand, and discard the rest of the revealed cards. So then it sets cards up in the drop zone for you to place as original address for your Mirror's Virina, with this card just having to be an original dress, being a Prayer Dragon. It's also searchable with our Ride deck option. And then also the 4 copies of the Strike Equipped Dragon, Stragaglio. This just gives you more search when placed on rearguard from hand. If you have a Vanguard with Nirvana and its card name, discard a card from your hand, and search your deck for up to 1 card with the Overdress ability, or up to 1 Trickstar. Put the rest into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And then also with this card, it sets up so you need the multiple Trickstars, whether you go for an original dress, Overdress, or a crossover dress. And when this card becomes an original dress, you can counterblast 1 and choose a Trickstar from your drop zone and call it to rearguard. It's just search power and recyclability that you can use with this card, being able to re-add your Trickstar back from the drop zone onto the field for you to use for a crossover dress or an overdress. If you use the discard draw for your Jiva to get 1, then you can use the Stragaglio for the additional Trickstar call to then use for an overdress to go into cards like Verena Arcs. And then I also run the 3 copies of Sparkle Rejector Dragon, just for the Sentinel spot, and the 1 copy of Elementaria Sanctitude for the Blitz Order to combat units that have the Triple Drive ability. And then just the additional, having not to discard with your Sparkle Rejector Dragon. For the grade 0s, running the 4 copies of the Trickstar, I, strayed away from running this card as my starter. The draw definitely did help, and you have plenty of search now in the deck in the form of your Stragaglio. Running this at a 4 of, just so you always can either see this or Trickstar, and having the 1 guaranteed search. The additional search for another one is just so you can have the 2 copies to have a unit in the overdress state and a unit in the crossover dress state, or have 2 crossover dress units on the field as well. Moving on now to our trigger lineup, I'm running 7 criticals, so 4 copies of Burning Flail Dragon and 3 copies of Blaze War Monk Sogyu. For that pressure, I decided to go with a 4 of for the next trigger lineup, keeping it at 7 for the critical. The next one being the 4 draws, so 4 copies of Flare Veil Dragon for the additional +5 shield if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater. And for the heals, I'm running 3 copies of Blaze Maiden Rioni and the 1 copy of Stealth Fiend Tamarahime for the additional +10 shield it can get when you go up against a Vanguard that has a higher grade than your own, which we don't have grade 4 in this deck, so you always have the play to be able to have that additional guard when going up against those decks. Otherwise, it's just a 10k guard, so if you don't want to run it, you could always go for more of the vanilla, being a 15k guard over just a 10k, potentially 20k guard. With our overtrigger just being the Drug Veda, being able to restand our Vanguard, giving us the additional drive check pressure with this card also. And then also having the additional option once our Vanguard restands, because the crossover dress restand is not a once per turn, so if we attack with another one, we can then attack with Jiva and restand another unit after that also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. It's really awesome support that we got. We definitely needed Mirror's Virina just for the countercharge power that it can provide to the deck, and I hope you all enjoyed as well. I'll be doing a lot more deck profiles from Dragon Masquerade, so definitely look forward to it. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.